I mean, he has the body control. He's able to elevate, able to high point the ball, physical at the catch point because he's a big body kid and he plays that way.
Arkansas wide receiver Treylon Burks is an interesting case study. He's kind of been through the ringer a little bit through the pre-draft process, but we've settled on a firm 2 for him as evaluation. He's going to be a top 40 prospect for us when it's all said and done. So, Keith, you did the film write-up on Treylon Burks. Talk to us about where the narrative went with him, where you were on it, and if you were surprised to have seen this evolution of his perception as a player.
Man, so I think you combine the productivity that he had at Arkansas, right? So if you look at the raw numbers, you see a guy that probably had 10 touches a game. He had over 100 yards, touchdowns. So you see the production, and then everybody's seen the size. And it was a matter of, okay, is this guy going to test really well? And at the combine, I think overall the NFL community, you can say, was disappointing. That's just because the bar was so high, right? It was a DK Metcalf type comparison when you talk about size, speeds, athleticism.
Debo Samuel.
Yeah.
Debo.
And, he ran a 4.5, which is still good for a guy that's 225, probably close to 230 pounds playing weight. So for me, it kind of came in right where I expected, because on the film, I seen a receiver that had a lot to work on as far as him being a true X receiver. Now, he did do really good things as far as once he's able to get vertical, he's great at contested catches. If it's a 50-50 ball and it's 30 yards down the field, it's probably 100 to Treylon Burks and 0 for the defensive back. He's coming down with it, and that was just special and amazing as far as that. But I think a lot of nuances that you have to work on as far as being a wide receiver, and I think that's where everybody kind of feels now. And I think that's where we stood as a staff, that this guy has things to work on.
I think Treylon Burks is an interesting case of what is he being asked to do and what maybe are we hoping to see. Because I know a lot of you guys here are going to speak on his deficiencies as a route runner. And look, I think I was the high guy on him, and I would agree. He's not Chris Olave or Garrett Wilson or, even Drake London as a route runner. He's not that nuanced of a guy. He's not sinking his hips. He's not creating separation at the top. This is not his game. But I think he is such a dynamic athlete at Arkansas, and you saw it at the combine. He's 6'3", 225 pounds, running a 4.5. Like, that's nothing to sleep on. Like, did it meet our expectations in terms of where the bar was? I know people were talking about a low 4.4 guy. No, but that's nothing to be disappointed about, And I think Arkansas, their whole mindset was, hey, we got to get this kid the ball. Because he's our best player. Get the ball in his hands, no matter if it looks pretty, we don't care. We need him to get the ball in order for us to win football games. Because when he has the ball in his hands, this is a special football player. A guy this big, this physical, should not be as shifty as he is, because he makes people miss as if he's a smaller receiver. So I really like him after the catch. I think Keith mentioned at the catch point, he's phenomenal. He has the body control. He's able to elevate, able to high point the ball, physical at the catch point because he's a big body kid and he plays that way. So he's big body. He's good after the catch. He's strong. He's in good hands. And, the 4.5, I think he plays faster than that because you've seen him consistently separate down the field against top SEC competition. And so, look, I recognize some of the things he has to work on in terms of being able to run the full route tree, being able to, clean up his route progression and things like that. But there's a lot of tools for me to work with. And if I'm a receiver coach, I'd rather have this kind of skills and tools than a guy who's more of just a kind of elite route runner that's lacking some of those physical attributes, because at the end of the day, I think I can coach him into being that route runner who we all hope to see him develop into.
I agree with Brittany, especially regarding of getting the ball in his hands, letting him be a threat, run after a catch. The biggest issue is even on the simplistic routes, right? The quick hitters, the slants. It's not a cut. It's not a precision cut. It's a round. And it's times on tape where he actually creates that separation, and then the DB's right there back in phase because he doesn't hold the line. He's still raw in a lot of that aspect. Now, that's coachable. Don't get me wrong, that's coachable. When it comes down to his speed, DBs can get up on him at press and not really fear his speed immediately. He doesn't have sudden speed though. So I wasn't surprised by the 4.5 because he's a build-up guy. He's a guy, if you give him off coverage and you don't impede him off the line of scrimmage, oh yeah, he's gonna run by you. Because he's gonna open that stride, and he's gonna get going. But in press coverage, guys, Josh Jobe, a lot of different SEC corners got physical with him. They were able to knock him off his route a little bit, and especially for a guy that's 200, almost 30 pounds, you don't really want to see that. But they were able to get in him and run with him, stay in phase, and then it takes that kind of, I guess, nuance as a big receiver, top of the route, vertical. Let me get a little chicken wing, create that late separation, which is a skill in itself. But when it comes down to his play speed, it was a little bit of a question. And it's like, okay, can you win vertically? It's going to take time, and you got to think about pass protection, all those different things. So it's really about how you use this young man, projecting to the NFL, in my opinion.
Yes, and that's something that for me was pretty obvious as soon as you turn the tape on. And for me, it's not necessarily about the speed of for receivers. It's how quickly he separates, or does he have separation quickness at the top of the route? And this is something that he lacks. Right, this is not a dynamic athlete in any way, shape, or form. And I think I said that during meetings. He's someone that's strong. He's got strong hands. He's in a lot of contested catch situations because he can. And he's a player that we often say he catches good in the crowd because he's always in the crowd. I mean, he's got strong hands, and I don't think he's as nuanced as a route runner as he needs to be to create separation at the next level. So if you pair that with a lack of speed, with a lack of quickness, I think he's going to have trouble separating against man coverage.
There's going to be some teams that I'm going to like him for more than others, and like if he can be an X factor type player for your offense, I really like that as far as using him in ways that Arkansas did, where, like you said, Arkansas recognized this is our best football player. Let's give him opportunities to make plays for us. And I mean, that included throwing the football, running it, catching it, return game. I mean, a lot of stuff that he got a chance to do. But I think as a wide receiver, you still have to be able to just like win routes. It has to be a primary function of what you do. And at this point, he's underdeveloped. There's no pace. There's no rhythm to the route running. The separation quickness isn't there. The deceptiveness isn't there. And so if I want a dump and run type player that I think I can use isolated down the field because he's not necessarily going to take up a lot of attention because teams won't really respect his ability to separate and uncover, then I can have this kind of X factor for my offense. But I get concerned about him being like a focal primary point of my passing game because I don't think he has the requisite skills to do that at this point. And if he does, we're talking about a couple years down the road.
Very interesting conversation. Knew it would be. It's a very interesting player. A lot of nuance required. And Joe, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's all about where this guy goes and what kind of plan they have to integrate him into their offense early on. Only one way to find out. Draft's right around the corner. Treylon Burks, wide receiver, Arkansas.